Buenas tardes a todos. Perfecto. Well, okay, so the title of this presentation is denominated Exchanging English Classes, an action plan to reforest in Puebla, Mexico. Yes, by the conference's name is Master in Education, Ángel Tellez Tula. Okay, so a little bit about history. The importance of cocoa. After a Spanish arrival, cocoa became crucial due to the absence of colonial metallic currency. India's work was paid with cocoa, with daily work equivalent to 25 cocoas. This led to the use of cocoa in the label market, by Fernandez and Fernandez 2016. Okay, I mentioned this. I'm going to explain a little bit more about this further on. Yes, because we will have to take in consideration a term that is called barter. Yes, that in Spanish means trueque. Okay, so let's move on. The specific objectives. The study included specifically, number one, determine the necessity of reforestation in the region of Puebla. Number two, determine the advantages and disadvantages of a pilot reforestation program using elementary school students to reforest the state of Puebla. Okay, the research question. The specific research question of this research is set out below. Number one, how can exchanging English classes for planting trees be a pilot program to reforest in the state of Puebla? Okay, let's move on to the method and instruments. First of all, this research will be approached from the perspective of a mixed method approach. For the present study, action research, AR, was selected because of the importance of the process. Okay, let's move on. The AR process itself has been characterized by a spirit of cycle of movements between action and research. The four phases include planning, acting, observing, and reflecting by chemists and McTarrick, 1988, Burns, 1999. Okay, let's move on. Furthermore, one of the instruments that will be used is the semi-structured interview guide in order to find one principal, 2 elementary teachers, 5 parents, and 5 students' perception about the use of the ecological proposal. Likewise, the survey will be used as a technique to collect qualitative data. Specifically, a questionnaire will be generated in Google Doc forms. The Google Doc forms will collect the quantitative data and serve as a tool to collect demographic and opinion information about the functionality of the reforestation program. Okay, so a little bit about the framework. The figure 1 mentions 10 environmental benefits of planting a tree. Okay, so I'm going to start stating them. Number 1, reducing climate change. Number 2, purifying air. Number 3, cooling down the streets. Number 4, natural air conditioning. Number 5, saving water. Number 6, preventing water pollution. Number 7, providing shelters for wildlife. Number 8, renewable energy source. Number 9, reinforcing soil. And number 10, erosion control. The previous one mentions, as I stated before, the 10 benefits of planting of trees. There exists more. However, due to time, the researchers, in this case, myself, decided only to state only 10. Wessels, 2022. Okay, so let's analyze what are we doing in Mexico, specifically in the state of Tamaulipas, yes, and in regard to ecology. Locally, the Congress of the state of Tamaulipas, Mexico, approved a reform that every undergrad student that graduates from a university will have to plant a tree. Planting a tree to obtain a title is a symbolic price. In addition, the initiative aims to generate ecological awareness in hundreds of potential professionals. Ortega, 2021. Okay, let's move on to Africa. What is Yangabi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, doing in regard to ecology? Through a busy 3-day work, students will learn to protect the forest and care for the environment, specifically the Yangabi Biosphere Reserve. Joël Grandjean, who is responsible for the environmental education program, mentioned that children must learn early at the connection between forests and their families and communities, livelihoods, as well as how to make sure that future generation may also take advantage of the riches of the forest gives. Gonzalez, 2022. Okay. I'm going to mention a little bit about the intervention plan. Let's remember that this is ongoing research. So we will have two groups involved, 6th graders and 5th graders. In 6th grader, we will have 40 students approximately. The trees that would be planted per month would be 2 per 1 month. The location would be Bosque Santa Anita. It is the community where I live. The evidence will be sent to Google Classroom. Image would be sent at a pre and a mid and a post. Okay, the duration of this intervention program would be 6 months. The trees that would be planted for in these 6 months with the 6th grader would be 480 approximately, yes, for the 6 months. And then we move on to 5th graders. Again, 40 students will be involved in this ongoing research. 2 trees will be planted per family, per students in 1 month. The location would be Bosque de Santa Anita, the community where I live. And the evidence will be also sent to Google Classroom. Images would be sent in a pre, mid, and post in a period of 6 months. Yes, specifically 480 trees would be planted per 6 months. So at the end of the day, we would have like 960 trees planted. Yes, and the community where I live. Okay, I'm going to mention a question arises in regard to this ongoing research, where I could plant a tree. Yes, most of you have been thinking about this question. Number 1, the sidewalk. Number 2, my house or a relative's home. Number 3, a downhill. So the family would have to pick up and among these 3 options to plant their tree and do meaningful change in regard to climate change. Yes. Previous action plan for teachers, parents, and students to reflect, contribute, and agree on different actions to take care of the environment. The Ministry of Education designed the booklet entitled Actions to Make Peace with Mother Earth, Martinez 2022. This booklet is given to us as teachers by the Ministry of Education. Yes, it gives us suggestions. However, it also gives, it asks us to do a specific intervention, you know, hands-on. So the images that I show on the screen are the entrance of my school where I work, in Secundaria Técnica 61 in the community of San Martín Texmelucan. We had a planter there, and that at the beginning of when I started teaching at that school, did not have any plants. And at the end of the school year, in my 5th year of service, we planted more than 90 plants in that specific planter. Yes, so this is like the previous action that I had in the school where I currently work. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, another action that I had, it's that I have this pilot program where I ask the students to plant a tree. I have more or less I teach classes in that school to 280 students.
Respetuosamente quisiera informarle que le queda un minuto de tiempo.
Yeah, sí, muchas gracias. 280 students, and specifically not all the students plant a tree, but more or less 100 students plant. So at the end of the day of these schools, 6 years that I have been working in that specific school, more than 600 trees have been planted with the help of my students. Yes? Okay, so finally, the pre-experimental model can be the cornerstone for institutional authorities and policy makers to exchange English classes in public schools from elementary school to junior high schools to have a global ecological impact on communities. Yes, these are the references that I use, and I thank all of you. Agradecimientos a Dios, a los organizadores, a los oyentes y a mis mentores. Me parece que está mi mentora, la maestra Ana Isabel González Gonzaga. La quiero muchísimo. A mi papá, a mi mamá, Eben y Mago. Adicionalmente le doy una rosa simbólica a mi prometida, Dulce Sandoval Díaz, por apoyarme con esta presentación. Y finalmente a mi tío Rigoberto por todo su apoyo. Muchísimas gracias a todos a los organizadores nuevamente y a los presentes. Gracias. Bendecida tarde.